Good morning. I'm former Secretary Edwin Lacierda from Pinoy's Administration.
Magandang umaga. Ako naman si Attorney Trixie Cruz-Angeles, dating kalihim ng press ng Marcos Administration.
And we are the Spokes. We have confirmed from Terry Ridon last week that she's a part of the private prosecution team for the VP Sara Duterte impeachment.
A trial that could reshape Philippine politics heading into 2028. Joining us is veteran lawyer and columnist and our good friend, Attorney Lorna Kapunan. Welcome to the Spokes, Attorney Kapunan.
Good morning,
Hi,
Trix.
Lorna.
And I call him Kid and Kid.
You know, she was my first boss.
I was going to ask.
I was an underbar when I applied to Rocco Bunyag.
Yes.
And so, LPK, we call her LPK in the law firm. But, kasabay na nag-apply sa law firm, hindi nyo tinanggap.
Sinong
Justice of the Supreme Court na ngayon.
Sino?
Si Antonio Co. He applied with me. Sabay kami. The unfortunate decision you made was to hire me. But at least, no?
So
She's
our
not before
first
the Supreme
question
Court.
is, how was Attorney Edwin when he was under you?
Well, he didn't have to be interviewed. We got him on hello.
Really? I didn't know that.
I think because, I think at that time, well, when we would hire, we would not only consider academic qualifications, but we would consider advocacies, involvement in student activities.
Ayun.
Because we had this policy of giving back. Senator Ronald had encouraged the official work
Yes.
and pro bono work. And Edwin was
You know,
The poster boy for
You know,
that.
the first, it was in December that I was hired. So I was supposed
Okay.
to report for work in December of 1989. And then nag-December 8, 1989 coup.
yes.
And then the
that
first
was it,
job,
oo.
nag-coup. And then after tapos na yung coup, the first work that I did, I mean, we were hired, and the entire team was there. You were leading the team together with Raul Rocco, RSR. We were asked to research on Emergency Powers Act because he was the one who proposed a resolution, a law,
Yes.
to give Emergency Powers Act to the late President Cory Aquino.
Yes. So, parang, well, history is repeating itself, We see, but this one is more, I wouldn't call it history. I'd call it sometimes entertainment. We are seeing horror films evolve before our eyes. In fact, to quote Senator Lacson, he did say, parang mga bata na naglalaro sa playground. I don't think they take, well, implying that, do they take their work seriously? Are these legislators, the senators, taking their work seriously?
Continue, sorry.
No.
This is
So, if I were to characterize the Senate now, with all due respect to certain exceptions, it's like the theater of the absurd, di ba? It's really, this is absurd. This is happening. Them name-calling, ad hominem arguments, them calling each other whatever it is they want, they ate for the day.
You know, si Raul Rocco, I'll tell you an anecdote. He's a graduate of, he majored in literature, I think, English Lit. So sometimes he'd go to the law firm, my cubicle, and say, Edwin, what is this? And I remember you mentioned theater of the absurd because he came to my table and said, Edwin, what is that line in Waiting for Godot?
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
So
it,
he peppers his statements with literature. And his famous, his favorite poet was William, something, I forgot his name, but he's so famous, Puffrock, something like that. But he loved to quote English Lit. So that's why.
Because there were the senators, well, I guess if you're a senator, well, to get to that position, you have a certain stature in life, certain learnings, he even would tell us about, RSR would tell us, Senator Rocco would tell us about Blas Ople, how his car, wala na raw space yung car niya, puro libro. So it was like their desire to excel, to learn more. Maybe, but I don't see it happening amongst not only the senators, but public officials.
You've handled high-profile and politically sensitive cases in the past. What were you considerations in taking on some of them? Like, for example, Janet Napoles.
Oh,
Tayo nag-ano niyan.
Kasama ka doon.
You know, this is the situation. So I saw in the scroller, so I went to the office and then I was watching ANC that time. So
Right.
nakita ko yung scroller, willing to surrender. Kapunan, willing. Janet Napoles was willing to surrender. So what I did was immediately called you up.
yes.
Lorna, seryoso ba ito? So and he said, seryoso to. So I went to Pinoy and I told him, sir, I spoke to Lorna Kapunan and he's willing to, she was willing to negotiate a surrender, but only in your presence. So that started the ball rolling. So
Yeah, that was very interesting because at that time, well, how do you accept cases now? I guess it's my background. My father was Justice of the Supreme Court. My mother herself was head of the Philippine regulations for nursing. She even drafted the nursing code under the time of Senator Angara. I was pressuring Senator Angara as an associate. I would follow up with EDJA. Senator, how is the bill of my... That's why he is the author of the nursing code. She was also first dean of Manila Doctors and FEU School of Nursing. So, why am I saying this? Because it's very important now to go back to basics. And you're asking me how would I judge a case? I guess I grew up with a very good sense of right and wrong. And that was and my parents were my moral anchor. And that's what's lacking today. I mean, you're seeing this generation growing up without any sense of values because everything is gray. There's black and white. Tayo, di ba? Hindi pwede and pwede na. Hindi pwede and pwede na. It's not, there are no shades of gray. It's either wrong or right, no?
What about Atong Ang? You also accepted the case of Mr. Ang.
Yes, because to this day, I believe he's innocent.
I see.
but why is he hiding?
Precisely because of, well, I cannot answer that. No, I'm no longer his lawyer.
Wala na.
I'm no longer his lawyer.
Okay.
So may, ano na.
But when I assess the case, really, it's this issue of whistleblowing. No, this whistleblower in the Atong Ang case was charged with the very same case, with the very same crime of murder, the very same concerning the missing sabongeros. Siya rin yun. He was charged, and all of a sudden, close to conviction, he says, "Teka, I'm going to give you 100 people involved." He named more than 140. The case that was the case building involved 140, including the board of directors. Imagine the incredibility of one statement of his. He says, I'm sometimes in the board of directors meeting. This board of directors, they're investors. I mean, who is he? He's just in charge of operations of a farm, no? And betting, etc. And I would be there when they would decide to kill. Do you decide that in a board of directors meeting of a company? They would decide to kill XYZ Zabongero for cheating. At that level, I mean, you know. Plus, all the videos show him bringing the bringing the Sabongeros to the van, show him taking the money from the ATM. So what links Atong Ang and all of the 140 respondents? Just one testimony. And the reason I'm saying this is we are all seekers of truth.
Lorna, you mentioned
and that should be the gold standard for the Senate. Not because it's convenient to name somebody whistleblower, like flood control. Di ba? Ang daming whistleblower dyan. And they point to senators, congressmen, and all that on promise of immunity. So they whistleblow. So is there any attempt at all? Kasi it's convenient. Let's get a whistleblower, di ba, Trix? It's convenient.
You know, you were talking about just one whistleblower. Parang you had a problem with that. But is it possible? I'm going ahead lang, but I'll get ahead. In the prosecution team, there might be a possibility that you might have. Are you certain that you won't just have one whistleblower in your prosecution against VP Sara?
Yes, we have. We don't call them whistleblowers because these witnesses, well, not to preempt the strategy of the public prosecutors, but these witnesses had appeared before House Quadcom, no? Committee on Good Governance and Accountability, had done investigations, and these are witnesses that had given their testimony before, admitting that they received envelopes by way of bribe. So when this happened again this year in the Committee on Justice, it was fairly easy for the Committee on Justice to review because nakatape eh. That's why ang daming video ng witnesses saying, yes, we were told this, and yes, we were told that, and we delivered duffel bags and all that, blah, blah, blah. No? But these already are part of the records of the House. And that is why we have, there is documentary evidence and there's video evidence. These are not new. But what is new is this is being unearthed for the first time in the House Committee on Justice, because in the previous impeachment last year, direct through more than 1/3 vote of the House plenary. No? So there was no really, which prompted the defense lawyers, the VP lawyers, to go to the Supreme Court, which resulted in the Duterte decision that said, oh, dismissed because no due process. Which is why Committee on Justice, every step of the way, even talking to an empty chair, will you please find out if the Vice President is there, miski empty yung chair niya. Will you please find out if she was notified? Will you please find out if she received all the pleadings? I don't think that tactic will work this time.
How did you become involved in this?
In which one?
In the impeachment.
We were involved last year.
Okay.
You were?
We were involved last year as in fact, yes. We were ready to go until a restraining order of the Supreme Court, and then eventually a dismissal.
Wait. So, to go, I mean, last year, meaning the Quadcom?
No, the impeachment
Na.
The impeachment last year.
So, I heard, remember the second impeachment, the complaint that you were planning to file, I heard that you were the one who counseled them to drop the fourth and the fifth impeachment complaint, or something like that.
The first and the second.
The first and the second, because you felt that based on the new Supreme Court decision by Marvick, baka there might be a possible violation again of the one-year rule.
Yes, because well, first of all, there was a discussion on do we seek clarification from the Supreme Court, because it was not clear when did the one-year ban
Begin.
Terminate. No? When was the period? When was the period for filing? When did the period for filing start?
Right.
To get out of the one-year ban, and we as volunteer lawyers said, let's not even risk it. I mean, there are 4 complaints, almost the same.
All right.
Almost the same. The first and second really were filed beyond within the one-year ban.
Yes.
The first 2. So we said, do we want to risk another petition for nothing? When the third and the fourth were really well crafted, the third and the fourth, and they also had the same grounds. So
You made the comment that lawyers who publicly comment on a case should not later participate in it. So could you elaborate on this?
Lawyers who
publicly comment on a case should not later participate in it.
So yun ang galing yun.
I said that. I say so many things. Sometimes I should remind myself, hey, I said that nga pala. No.
But it's
No,
interesting.
I'm saying,
yeah?
no, what I'm saying, what I probably meant, and I still mean it, is oh, well, we lawyers have a threefold duty to the court, to our clients, and to justice, to the bar. And we have to be, and there are lawyers and there are lawyers. For instance, the lawyers of Bato. The lawyers of Bato saying, I can receive the warrant of arrest.
You're referring to Attorney Jimmy Bondo.
Yes, Attorney Jimmy Bondoc said, what's parang dismissing, what's the buzz, what's happening when we lawyers can receive the warrant of arrest. Obviously, that's wrong law. Also saying that foreign warrant is, to accede to a foreign warrant is a surrender of sovereignty. Obviously, that is opinion, but it is wrong law because we are party to conventions, international conventions, which we should respect because of the Constitution. Now, I'm saying that if you are so partisan that you can no longer see the forest, you're just looking at the trees, as some confessed Duterte loyalists in the Senate have said, regardless, no, you strip me of my clothes, I'm green inside, or stuff like that. That violates already their own Senate rules, which says political neutrality, no? And their oath, which they took as Senate judges, of impartial justice. So that applies to everybody, whether lawyers, senators, if they cannot abide by political neutrality, huwag ka na mag-participate.
Alam mo, Lorna, you're going to be facing against also a very strong law firm handling Fortune Narvasa, Siegfried Fortune and the Narvasa law firm. And they already have previous experience in impeachment, twice I think, in the ERAP and also in the Chief Justice Coron impeachment trial. On the other hand, you are going to be with the public prosecutors who by and large have not practiced for some time. I mean, the only one I think that have litigation experience is Chel Jokno and Laila de Lima. So how do you arrayed against a formidable law firm? Do you think you stand a chance in presenting your case to the public? That was also the problem in Chief Justice Corona's impeachment trial. The public prosecutors were a bit greenhorn. I mean, it showed inexperience. So how are you training them to level up their trial technique?
I think I think it is the quality and the weight of the evidence. Here, miski anong galing ng abogado, wala naman sa galing ng abogado yan. Wala sa galing ng abogado, wala sa ganda ng Amerikana na suot mo.
Ba't ka nag-hire ng magagaling na lawyer kung walang kwenta ang mga kalidad ng mga abogado?
Well, every client, every litigant needs good counsel.
Right.
And that is a judgment call. It's a judgment call on who do you think best serves your interest. No? Whether you're prosecution or defense, whether you're complainant or accused, get a good lawyer. And there's so many around. There's so many good lawyers. Of course, there are law firms that that are established, but I don't think this impeachment case will sink or swim based on the ability of the lawyers or prosecutors.
But it will affect public opinion.
It is the evidence.
Diba? It will affect public opinion.
Wouldn't it, consequently also, or the reverse, do you think that holds to kahit bano yung lawyer?
Oo.
Sorry for the language.
Oo.
Kahit bano yung lawyer, it will not affect the case? After all, you did hire Attorney Edwin, but not on the basis of his excellence, which later was proven, but on the basis of his advocacy.
No. It was also the basis of his qualification.
Ayan.
I'm saying that when you hire, you look beyond the qualifications. Kasi maraming when we look, titignan mo yung application form, attended, saan katutak na seminar? Anong ginawa mo dun sa seminar na yun? You attended, or you had grades. You were top of your class, or you had good grades, but what was your extracurricular activity?
Just to,
Okay.
You're not concerned frankly, with the quality of the public prosecutors? They're not experienced.
With the exception of the two,
Yes.
Attorney Laila and Attorney
Honestly,
Jokno.
Lorna, hindi ka ba?
Honestly?
Yes.
They're all they're all
And also, you mentioned Joel Chua doing public interest law.
Yes,
I
they
heard
did.
you say that. Oo.
Most of them do have litigation experience. It's just been a while.
Kong Bel Zamora has been a litigator.
Yes, yes. Of note.
Chairman Jinky, Luis Tro, taught law.
Pero matagal na silang hindi nagpa-practice eh.
Kaya matagal na rin ang mga law firms na senior partners of some law firms don't even go to court. I mean, they send
Associates.
They send their associates to
Yes,
court. Of course, sangkatutak na portfolio na dala na dokumento ang mga associates, but does that make a good lawyer? I'm saying even because you're an established law firm, you have the edge or you have the advantage. No. There is no substitute. There is no substitute for preparation and diligence. And I think that's the mantra now that's the mantra of both sides, I would imagine. Because even the defense is saying, and I hope they don't do an a la Corona thing of filing an answer that is a non-answer, no?
But
Remember,
that's within their legal right to do so.
it is within their legal right to do so, but the situation is different. In the Corona impeachment, they did file an answer. The defense filed an answer with affirmative defenses, raising the issue of jurisdiction, due process, etc. And that would have been a litigable issue, a valid litigable issue, because the mode used was direct referral. One-third, more than one-third vote sila at inapprove,
So, pwede,
rinifer sa Senate yung impeachment complaint. That situation is different this year, now. Because it was not through this one-third direct referral vote.
It went to
was
committee.
through, yes, it went through hearing in the House committee to determine substance, to determine form, to determine substance, and to determine probable cause. Every step of the way. If you were to write a checklist of what was the requirements in the Duterte case, no? That the Supreme Court laid down, which to this day, with due respect, I still feel that the Supreme Court had gone beyond its authority, no? By making rules for the House. So, binigyan ba ng notice? Check. Was she represented by counsel? Check. Was she this? Or did the complaint state ultimate facts? Check. Did the House member committees receive copies? Did they, etc.? All check. So, if you were to do a checklist of what the Supreme Court required the House to do in an impeachment case before it transmits it to the Senate, every single box is checked. So I don't see how an answer with affirmative defenses raising, which is really effectively a motion to dismiss, will have any legal basis.
You said that conviction is plausible if impeachment reaches full trial. Do you still maintain the position now? You had said
yes.
this earlier. But before you answer this in full, the spokes will be right back after this short break.
Wherever the story breaks, BNC is there. From conflict zones to global summits, real, fast, and verified. One mission, keeping you connected to the world. BNC International Correspondent.
Kailangan mo din, Tonyo.
Steve Andrews, the movie guy.
I'm Cheryl Picture.
Rowena Papasin.
Villanueva. I'm Kevin Manalo.
Camila Iman.
BNC International Correspondence is everywhere.
And the spokes is back, still with Attorney Lorna Kapunan. Our hanging question a while ago is that if the conviction is plausible, if impeachment reaches full trial, but you still maintain the same position because there's a change of leadership now.
Yes, because I think that more than anything, what would weigh in heavily for the senator judges is their personal interest. Is their personal interest over and above their loyalty to the Vice President. If they see that the evidence is strong, and to go against the evidence and to go against public opinion, which now is about 60 to 70%.
Lorna, let me just
Yes.
let me just let's take a look at the composition of the senator judges.
Yes. Mhm.
5 doon may kaso.
6 na.
6. Sino yung pang? Si
Marcoleta.
Marcoleta pala. So, 6 doon may kaso. Yung 6 na yon, pwede naman I'm just talking real politic. So, they can even, kung close na sila kay Sara and they can get pag ako naging presidente, absuelto kayo lahat. That's possible, right? So, dito, you have an ombudsman who's really going after them. So, why will I decide on the basis, and you're talking about personal interest. So, my personal interest is that I don't get sued. If VP Sara can guarantee me that, boboto ako sa acquittal ni Sara.
If VP Sara can, I don't know how these things work, but it is if there is precisely an ombudsman case, it is to their best interest, because the ombudsman case is here and now. Sara is 2 years from now. She might even be, she might not even run. Who knows? And that is speculation. But it is not speculation that there are pending cases now in the ombudsman. So, what is to their personal interest, it's for them to decide. I'm saying that it can swing anyway, and I just saw a post in social media that all of the majority, actually not only 2 or 3, have serious issues
With?
with the ombudsman. For
Okay.
instance, Alan Peter, yung kanyang issue sa paggamit ng mga pondo nung ASEAN
Games.
Games, ng ASEAN Games.
Okay.
All 13, and 2 of them, in fact, have convictions. Amy, we have forgotten, had a conviction in a Hawaii court when she ordered the killing of us.
Trajano.
Yes. May conviction yun, and merong...
I didn't know that.
I thought it was a civil case.
May judgment, ang civil case will arise from liability.
From- yes.
No? So, it was probably settled. I'm speculating. It was probably settled. So, meron siyang dapat bayaran na hindi niya binayaran. Why a U.S. court is not... Maybe because walang perang pang-execute yung...
But which brings me to mind, kung we are so polarized right now, Philippine society is so polarized, and it reflects on the Philippine Senate, do you think they can still come up with a judgment that is based on the evidence or on their personal interest? Parang ang feeling ko, naglinyahan na sila eh. So how do you convince? And right now, you need 16.
Yes.
It's not just a simple majority. You need 2/3. So, what do you think on the basis of the evidence, mako-convince mo yung 16?
Yes, very frankly, I think that there are four grounds in the articles of impeachment, and to me, in my assessment as lawyer, each ground by itself is sufficient for conviction. Under the Senate rules kasi, before you decide to convict or acquit, tatapusin mo muna yung evidence on every ground. For instance, one ground is culpable violation of the Constitution for hiring an assassin and grave threats, inciting to sedition. Isang ground yun. Yung evidence nun ng prosecution, both testimonial and documentary, is sufficient to convict. Yun ang test ng ano.
Pasensya na, Trixie.
Yes.
Terry
Go
Ridon
ahead.
was here, and he guessed it before us in the spokes. he mentioned that they dropped the Madriaga issue. You're not going to present the Madriaga issue. Are you familiar with that decision, and if you knew,
Well,
why did you decide to drop the Madriaga issue?
It's still under discussion and I don't want to telegraph this. Baka nakikinig si Sig kasi. Hi Sig, good morning. Baka maniwala dito sa sinasabi ni Edwin na kunyari lang yan. Speculation lang yan. Baka sabihin niya, ay, sabi ni ganyan sa Bilyonaryo. Itong gagawin nila. So, wala si Madriaga, okay tayo. Sig, huwag ka maniwala dito.
Pero sabi mo, in and of itself, you can warrant a conviction already.
Yes, because remember, Madriaga, even without the Madriaga on the confidential funds, the case was so strong already. We had...
No, but the confidential funds is separate from the Madriaga pa eh. I mean...
Kasi si Madriaga yung ano eh. You're talking NBI.
Madriaga yung...
Si Madriaga yung testimony niya, nakilala niya.
Bagman
Yung
siya.
duffel bags nga.
Yes, yung...
But even without that, even without the delivery of the duffel bags, maraming ibang documentary evidence. For instance, yung mga military officers na nagsabi, wala namang binigay sa amin para sa
Hindi, kasama yun. Sinabi ni Terry, kasama yun.
Okay, so it is under assessment.
Okay.
We're interested to know what is your take on have you read the decision of the Supreme Court on the denial of the TRO of Senator Bato?
I haven't read the full decision, but
What do you see of
I
this,
expected the decision to be like that. Expected the decision because lawyers know
Wait. They expected the decision per se or the TRO?
on the denial of the TRO. No,
Because,
we expected because the elements for a TRO did not exist. There was no
clear right.
No irreparable
Violation of that right.
injury.
Yes, there was no irreparable injury, and there were other remedies. So, what I was surprised about was the voting. Was the voting because it was 951.
951, yes.
So if you were to assess the voting compared to the voting on the impeachment of Sara, the dismissal of the impeachment on Sara, which was almost unanimous, save for 3 or 2 who abstained. One was sick, one was abroad. It was unanimous. But it shows you that probably, and this again is my opinion, it shows you the shift because most of them are Duterte appointees. No? So if you have a 9, it shows you that there was a shift from the Duterte appointees to the side of really looking at merits of the case. No? 951.
So that was a pleasant surprise for you?
I was pleasantly surprised. But in fact, I wanted to know. No, I wanted to get a copy. So, who are these 9? Who are these 9 na nag-vote to deny the TRO? No?
So, on our side, it largely says, Marvic, you're a bit redeemed.
Hindi kasama siya sa 9.
Kaya kasama siya sa 9. Oo.
But many, for example, still feel that ICC is foreign interference. Why do you think this narrative resonates?
I don't think that the ICC is foreign interference.
Okay.
I think it's the Philippines, the executive department honoring the treaty obligations. As a matter of fact, the revocation by itself is questionable because it was a unilateral act of President Duterte without going through the Senate, which is the treaty-making body. No?
But let's not litigate that anymore because the Supreme Court is already said tapos na yan.
Supreme Court.
So valid ang ICC warrant, and I heard this morning on TV in a press conference that henceforth there will be no legal issue on ICC warrants, which as announced by the Department of Justice, which means to say that should there be others, kasi maraming co-perpetrators pa yan, no? A former Justice Secretary, Senator Bongo, and several others,
Generals.
hindi na magiging issue yan. they will automatically, not automatically, they will decide, kasi may, sa batas nakalagay may surrender, no?
Yes.
So they will follow the precedent of surrendering to the ICC.
Just a short question before Trixie goes to the tough questions. So you saw the decision in the TRO, but these are preliminary remedies. They're saying that they haven't yet rendered a judgment on the main issue. Do you think there will be a change in the opinion of the justices on the main issue on hand, on that particular case?
I think, I think it will even be more. I think
More what?
I think it will be more in favor of dismissing the petition.
Okay.
Kasi preliminarily, pag 9 yan, at nabasa na nila, and they have seen the government action on this, parang moot an academic na eh. And besides, we should reaffirm the principle of separation of powers, where you do not interfere with discretion of a co-equal body. And that discretion has been exercised by the executive when he says, and the president tells the implementing agencies, the DOJ, the implementing agencies kasi sa ICC, after the Interpol is locally, the DOJ, DFA, PNP, and NBI. All of them are now on the same page.
Okay.
This is the part of our program where we ask tough questions. Now, many are saying that the president, if the president could have made a firmer directive on the enforcement agencies, Senator Bato de la Rosa could have been far easily arrested. Do you agree with this?
I agree. I agree because the warrant of arrest, ICC warrant of arrest, has been here since last year.
Yes.
Since November of last year, and should have been implemented then. No? I guess, but it's difficult to second guess. To second guess the head of the
Agencies? Or
not second
state?
guess the president, because when you're president, you have other concerns. No, there's this energy crisis. There's this flood control mess. There's so many issues. I think it probably took the back burner na. So difficult to second guess. I guess it's, and as we lawyers say, hindsight is always 20/20.
Not only lawyers.
Especially lawyers.
Especially lawyers.
Tuloy mo na, Trixie. Next question natin.
Your comment that the case against former Senator Bong Revilla appeared rushed and politically motivated. Is it not the same with the other senators who are also facing cases? Yeah, you said it.
What did I say?
Lorna, bobor na, nakalimutan ng comments.
You said that politically motivated. It appeared
Oh, yes.
politically
Wait, are you a lawyer
motivated.
for-
Senator
No, I'm not a
Bong.
lawyer from
Okay.
Bong Revilla because my understanding, but I know the lawyer handling na. Kasi my understanding of the Bong Revilla case is it was still pending preliminary investigation. And that's, yes.
So,
And
With the ombudsman? With the, saan? Sa
Oh,
PI sa ombudsman?
DOJ.
DOJ.
It was still pending. It was going through the stage of preliminary
I see,
investigation. And the charge was graft, corruption. And all of a sudden, when it was brought to the ombudsman, without benefit of another preliminary investigation, the charge was plunder. So nagmorph, nagpalit ng charge from the DOJ to the ombudsman, naging plunder, and therefore inaresto. Inaresto without benefit of, sandali, you change the charges against
due
an
process
accused.
issue siya.
Due process issue yan. So, biglang inaresto and then ang daming media, no? So, sometimes people are really tried by media. Now, if that is so, kung may plunder, immediately nag-plunder, hindi hiniling yung plunder, why would be the case of Marcoleta be different? Why would the case of Senator this or what's his name? Ang dami sila. Madami na. Why would it be different? Bakit na aresto? Now, And then I'm thinking, I'm the malicious in me, and Edwin knows that's probably 90% of me, thinks, magkalaban sila sa politika sa Cavite.
Oo nga, no?
Oh,
Ano, oo nga, no?
Yeah. So,
But they're good friends, ha?
well,
Well,
everybody,
well.
With
that's
a
what
new
the senators
dimension,
say to each other. Migs says, kaibigan ko kayong Senator Migs. I miss Ninang pala. Hinda Kasal. Kaibigan ko kayong lahat. Bakit naman ganyan? Bakit nyo tinatawag kaming duwag and all that? So, they're all friends. I mean, if you have friends like that, you don't need enemies.
As human rights lawyer, the main reason why you took on the task of being private prosecutor is another, ano yun?
To
Is
stop.
another, yeah, like to stop another Duterte presidency. Is this correct?
Sinabi niyo ba ulit yan? Sinabi mo ulit yan na wag mong
The
bawiin.
first part.
Bakit di ba pinapanood yung mga sinasabi ko? Kung ako, hindi ko pinapanood eh. No, it's not about Duterte.
Yeah.
It's not about, it could be anyone. It could be Mary Grace Piatos, for all I care, running for vice president. But whoever commits glaring violations of law, for instance, how can you compare the crying lady in the Senate? How can you compare her saying, I pity my staff and all that? Wait a minute, did you cry when there were 30,000 extrajudicial victims? Did you cry for their mothers? Did you cry for their children? Did you cry? That type of thing, no? So there are situations where it's not even legal considerations. It's already moral. And when you keep quiet about something that is so patently wrong, whether that is the VP, whether it's the Senate President, you have to stand up. Not even as a lawyer, but as a human being. As a human being. And at my age, I'm not thinking of myself anymore. Incidentally, I'm going to have an apo, a grand apo.
Oh, congratulations.
From my lawyer, we're all, in fact, I don't have daughters pala.
Ito, last tough question.
I was going to follow up on that.
Hindi, ikaw na, Trixie,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Just the personal dimension, yeah.
Yeah, personal. So my apo is a lawyer,
Oh.
and his wife is having giving birth on, who's also a lawyer, giving birth on Thursday.
Oh.
So that's what we're thinking of. Generations of
So,
generations.
pangalan ng apo mo is Peach. Impeachment.
Pangalan siguro, Kapunan eh. Pangalan siguro ng apo ko is Kapuwawa. Kasi kawawa naman to inherit this kind of government, this kind of public officials.
Edwin.
Trixie, go ahead, Trixie.
Kapuwawa.
So, SP Cayetano and VP Sara were not exactly on good terms in the 18th Congress. Do you ever see SP Cayetano voting to convict VP Sara in the impeachment trial? Do you think?
I don't know. I don't know what Senator Alan would do because he communicates with God. So he's probably waiting for what God wants him to do.
I think he's
Ano,
very
Lorna,
much-
I heard that you have to go somewhere else. Because
No, I'm
you're-
good.
Okay. You're
But-
good?
Yeah, I'm good.
You want to finish the entire... ano?
Yes, let's do that. So but I promise to talk less. Go ahead. So you can finish your questions.
So, okay. We're out of
No,
questions.
but Lorna, this is your first experience in an impeachment case. Do you see any difference with the typical trial court? Because the thing is, you can expect a predictable judgment from judges who are trained in the law. On the other hand, you have got senator judges, and most of them are not trained in the law. They're not lawyers. So, how does that factor in litigating an impeachment case?
Well, the
Wait,
problem.
before do you appeal to the facts? Do you pound on the facts? Do you pound on the law? Or do you pound on the
judge.
table? No, yan.
Yeah. The problem with Senate impeachment court compared to ordinary courtrooms is they can. It's like moot court competitions. No? I also handled Jessup moot court and
Do you handle
incidentally
the last winning team?
the international. I'm in charge of international humanitarian law in the Philippine Red Cross, so we have competitions.
Right,
No? And that's why I know IHL, international humanitarian law. And there talagang as judges, nasa gitna ng presentation yung in front of us, we really stop and ask questions na hindi naman related sa sinasabi. I mean, just to test knowledge, no? And here, my concern here is the senator judges will do that. Also because they're not only in a court, they're in public television.
Right.
So everybody will sadly
Grandstand.
might take the opportunity to grandstand, miski na hindi naman related sa question, which will not happen in ordinary court. Kasi isa lang magtatanong sa'yo. Sila, ang magtatanong, hindi lang defense, pati senator judges. No? And this also, in fairness, this also will happen to the defense. Because if you're saying polarize ang House, there are also those who really have said the minority. There are those in the minority who are also diehard, no? And they should also be judged by the same standard. Can they abide by their oath of impartial justice and political neutrality? Kasi ang tinatapon sa majority, yun rin ang tinatapon na objection, yung bias rin ng minority, no? So,
But don't you think the prosecution will be doing the same?
yes.
So they'll also, well, probably not under you, probably not as much. But
Oh,
don't
worse.
you think that
Under me, worse.
Pero
okay,
Kill,
we will
will
expect.
kill them with objections.
Lorna, pero the problem with senator judges and lahat, they have the right to ask leading
Yes.
questions.
Yeah.
And you cannot object because
Yes.
they're the judges. So, do you foresee a lot of them putting out their biases and asking leading questions?
That's why it's very important. What is important is the role of the presiding justice, and that is the Senate President, and the role of the majority floor leader. Because under the Senate impeachment rules, sole authority ng presiding justice to decide on motions, unless there is objection and he says, let's put it to a vote. Put it to a vote, the majority pa rin will win. So it's...
I'll ask this question. Ang presiding officer will be the Senate President,
Yes.
Alan Cayetano. I've asked this to congressman when they're here. Politiko, hindi kaya namin yung kaso kahit na sino ang presiding officer. I'd like to ask you, do you prefer Alan Cayetano or a member of the minority who assuming they become majority, do you prefer Alan to be the presiding officer or you prefer someone more friendly to your case?
I prefer you, actually. Somebody like you. Somebody who well, you are a spokesperson. Yes. I'm sure you...
We're all spokespersons.
Yeah.
Yes.
You both are spokesperson. I'm sure as spokes you had an advocacy. You had to defend the institution. And I'm hoping that whoever is Senate judge there will look beyond the case. Look beyond this. This is not an impeachment case. This is a case of defending the institution, your institution, the Constitution, the people's right to learn the truth. And if that is the perspective, it doesn't matter if it's an Alan or a Win Gatchalian or it's... But if that is the perspective, pag matauhan lang, thunder and lightning, if there's thunder and lightning on that Senate and all of a sudden they say, Lord, forgive me and all that. If they get now a sense of this is beyond us, this is the Constitution, this is the institution, it doesn't matter who the Senate President is. It doesn't matter who the majority is. If they go beyond private interests and transcend that and begin to really follow the Constitution, the way any Christian would follow the Bible, the Constitution is our Bible.
That's true.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Attorney Lorna. I hope we'll be able to guest you again.
Yes.
Kasi it's so laid back. I love it.
I mean, I'm sure you're gonna edit most
Next time,
of
ha?
this.
Next
No,
time.
there's-
Huwag
this
kang
is
atin
live.
dito at kakat dapat buong oras yan. Buti pumayag ka. But
Oh,
anyway,
yeah, because
There's no editing. This is live.
Walang edit
Everybody
to.
already
Live ka
heard
na.
you.
Kaya lahat ng comments mo, sisingilin ka ng mga tao.
hi Sig, how are you Sig?
Receive mo nga mga comments mo. Anyway, we leave you with a thought. Impeachment is a legal process to keep power in check.
Its consequences can reshape public trust, political power, and the future of democracy itself. I'm former Press Secretary Attorney Trixie Cruz-Angeles.
I'm former Secretary Edwin Lacierda,
And we are the Spokes. Ay.